Welcome to scheduling. Once our forecast has been created and derived, a shape of day curve is created. The shape of day curve is what will assist us in scheduling efficiently. The shape of day curve can be found on the My Schedule screen in the bar view. This is the My Schedule section, and by default it opens up showing the bar view. On this screen you will see the shape of day curve that has been created from your forecast information. This is the area at the bottom of the screen that is highlighted in yellow. We are going to create a schedule for the 14th of July, but you can change the date here. I want to now start scheduling against my shape of day curve. By default we can see the demand for all the departments rolled into one. In this case I want to schedule for front of house, so I click here where it says filter to open up the filtering options and select the option box next to zone. Here you can see the different zones that I can schedule for. Remember, there will only be a shape of day curve for front of house, back of house and management, as these are the only departments that we measure against an efficiency. I choose front of house and a new curve showing the demand for only front of house team members appears, and by hovering over the different sections of the curve I can see the number of team members required at any particular time of the day. I can close the filter box, giving me a full screen to work with. The higher the yellow parts of the graph, the higher the number of team required, from 1 here at 7 AM to 11 here at 8 PM. I am now going to start populating the rota. This can be done in a number of ways. Firstly, I will show you how to add a specific team member. To start, I will press the big green plus button here. This by default gives me a list of the team. It may be that there are more than one page of team, but in this example there is just one. I now want to filter down to the team members that are available to work the department I'm scheduling for. Therefore, I want to know which of the team have front of house assignments. I do this by selecting the button here. This will open up a possible job selection and allows us to click the drop down box here. I then select the job role we wish to schedule, in this case team member restaurant. This then gives me a refreshed list of team members that have that job assignment available to them and can be scheduled to work front of house. I'm now going to allocate a shift to a team member. Julia generally works breakfast, so I'm going to schedule her for Friday breakfast. I select Julia and move the cursor down to the scheduling area. Julia's name is now attached to the cursor. I can see that Julia's availability is set and she cannot work before 5 AM or after 6 PM as shown by these pink areas here. If I was to schedule Julia into these areas, it would generate a schedule warning. However, I can see by the yellow shape of day curve there is demand for someone to start at 6 AM. I am going to get Julia to start at 6 AM by clicking here and holding the mouse button down while dragging to the right. As you can see, this will start to create and extend a shift for Julia. As I am moving to the right and extending the shift, you will see the shape of day curve is changing colour and turning green. This is indicating the demand for the team is being fulfilled. You will see also that the schedule efficiency for this day and department increases too, shown by this number here. The efficiency number is what percentage of the demand is fulfilled. Being either under-deployed yellow or over-deployed red will reduce the efficiency. I am going to move Julia's shift to finish at 2 PM. To do this I drag the cursor to the time wanted and let go of the mouse button. If I have made a mistake to this shift I can quickly edit by dragging the ends like this, or moving the whole shift keeping its length the same like this. This is possible until another team member or option is selected. As you can see by moving her shift earlier we are over deploying, shown by the red button at the bottom of the screen, and over deploying affects the efficiency number. I am happy with this shift and want to add more team to the schedule for front of house. I am quite new to this site and I do not know which team have what availability, although I do know that it has all been set correctly in my HR. So I am going to build the schedules with unfilled shifts. To do this I go back to the top of the screen, and instead of selecting another team member I click this box here and I can now add shifts with nobody assigned to them. I will show you how to assign team after we've filled the schedule. So following the shape of day curve I can see that I need another person in at 11 AM, shown by the yellow point here, and I am going to need them to work till 9 PM. As you can see 9 PM is the point of the day where I need the most team with a demand of 11, so we will be working to ensure that we get as close to this number as possible. So I click here at 11 and drag right the way through until 9 PM. The next person needs to start at 1 PM, and again I will end this shift at 9 PM. It's worth knowing that until these shifts have a person assigned to them, they will not generate a break, and any shift over 6 hours requires a half-hour break, with any over 9 or more requiring a 1-hour break. We require a further person at 2 PM until 9 PM, and then another person at 4:30 until 9 PM also. We must ensure the minimum shift length is 3 hours, especially as our team is our main ingredient and their well-being and work-life balance should be considered when creating any schedule. I will continue to fill the schedule with a 5:15 until 10, a 5:45 until 11 PM shift. I need 2 6 until 11 PM shifts, and then finally a 6 PM until 1 AM shift. As you can see, I have still got some yellow on the curve here, showing I do not have enough team to meet demand, but I am also showing red here, which indicates I have more team scheduled than the curve is requiring. It also shows, up here, that I am scheduling to be 2 hours and 45 minutes below the expectation for the day on this department. This is before breaks are added, so I know I have some flexibility to add to the schedule if required. Before we add team members, we are also able to edit the shifts. Firstly, we close the Add Team Member box to show the screen better by clicking here. We will then click the Edit button, which is this big white arrow icon here with Edit written next to it. It allows us to go into and edit each shift. Again, we are able to move the shifts without changing its length by clicking and holding the mouse button and moving it like so. And we can also alter the start and finish times by clicking and holding and dragging the ends, like this. As you can see, when we move the start time of this shift later, or this one earlier, we start to see the curve turn red, which is saying we are over deployed. We may well be doing this because we know that we are expecting an unusually early or late booking that Dayforce or the forecast has not foreseen. This is why we only expect 85% efficiency as a target in each zone, without overspending on our hours. This allows us to use our local knowledge and other tools such as our booking tablets, as well as Dayforce, to schedule the right people in the right place at the right time. We will now add team members to each shift. This can be done in bar view or grid view if you prefer. In bar view, to fill the shift, we first ensure that we have selected the edit icon, and then hover over the shift. If we then click this little person icon here, we can see a list of team members available to do this shift. For this, we will select Ben. It is essential for this to work correctly that availability is set for all team members so that we get a correct list of anyone who can fill that shift and that role. In the next shift, we will select Alessi, then Amy, then Francis. It does help if you know your team well, as it is important that our main ingredient get their contracted days and hours. I also know that scheduling Demi here, for instance, will generate a critical warning, shown by this red cross, as she is only 16 and cannot work beyond 11 PM. This is a hard stop, and we will not be able to save the schedule with the shift on here, so we will swap her for Ian, like this. We can also generate yellow warnings for team, like this. These are not hard stops, but may be outside of working time directives, or in this case, Julia's availability. We should attempt to have as fewer warnings as possible. Further information on warnings can be found on the intranet. You can also change the job role with this icon here. We will change this shift to a bar role, which is also front of house. We can also add a note with this icon here. This can be seen by the team member. We will tell Ian that this is a bar close shift. You can also fill the shifts in grid view. To do this, firstly select view and select grid here. As you can see, here is a full list of team members, and it shows holidays by this icon here. It shows if they are unavailable for that day with this solid pink icon. And if we hover over this smaller icon, we can see that there is a set availability for that day. All our unfilled shifts are shown at the top of the screen here, and we can either choose a team member for the shift by clicking on the pencil icon and then the drop down box here, and so for this shift we'll select Demi. Or we can drag the empty shift to a team member by clicking on the green icon here, holding down the mouse button and dragging to the team member. We can only drag to the available team members. As you can see, I can't drag the shift to Chris, but I can give it to Bethany. I will now quickly fill the remaining shifts in bar view. As you can see, we now have a schedule efficiency of over 85%. We are well above target, but we are 5 hours and 45 minutes underspent, which may impact guest experience. This is partly due to breaks that have been generated for those team members that require them, and those breaks have also created more areas where we are under-deployed. We need to move these breaks to a time when they are better suited for the business and the team member, and we will also increase our efficiency by doing so. Let's start with Ben's shift. Currently the break is here, creating this under-deployment. Let's move it to this point here where I'm currently over-deployed. As you can see, as I move the break, the curve changes colour too. We are now going to move Alessi's and Amy's breaks to a better time, and this should help us have another team member on shift. First we'll move Alessi's here and then Amy's here. Looking at the curve, I now have a lot of yellow in the evening, so I can now add another unfilled shift from 5:30 until 10 PM. Our schedule efficiency is now over 90%. It is worth remembering that unfilled shifts will affect your efficiency in schedules, but until they are filled by a team member, they will not show in your total hours in my plan or my day. So we will now quickly fill this shift. And finally, a minor tweak to Ian's shift by moving his break from here and to here, and extending Francis's shift to here gives us an efficiency of over 95%, and we are in on our hours by 45 minutes shown here. Finally, we save our completed schedule by pressing this icon here, and we have put the right people in the right place at the right time.